So President Biden spent the Thanksgiving weekend on Nantucket, as is tradition for his family. And there he was working most of the time to keep the Hamas hostage release deal in place. He and the First Lady also called into NBC's broadcast of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with this message for the American people.
On this Thanksgiving Day out, we have to come together. We can have different political views, but we have one view. The one view is we're the finest, greatest nation in the world. We should focus on that. We should focus on dealing with our problems and being together, and stop the rancor. We have to bring the nation together. We have to treat each other with a little bit of decency.
Man, that is so great.
It's nice.
Bring America together.
It's the day to talk about it, too.
It is. You'd be grateful for the fact that we do live, and the president said it right there. We live in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
I know that sounds whatever, but I feel that way.
Yeah.
President feels that way.
I'm
and I think
inspired.
most Americans feel that way, and that's why on Thanksgiving, I think most politicians are like,
they take the moment to
you got to take that moment, right?
Yeah.
Today's Thanksgiving, so this is a day we're going to put aside any rancor, any anger, and that's how it's played.
Bring people together and show gratitude.
Be thankful. That's really what?
So, former President.
Oh, I guess
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump didn't do that. I'm hearing from our
had a holiday message
Truth
for
Social,
the American people. So in the early hours of Thanksgiving, he fired off this lengthy social media post blasting the president and all those involved in the New York civil fraud case against him, and wrote that the country had already, quote, gone to hell.
Okay, well, that's really not saying that we're the greatest country in the world, which most Americans think we are. So he says we've gone to hell, but he said that before.
Happy Thanksgiving to all, including the racist and incompetent Attorney General of New York State, Letitia Peekaboo James, who has let murder and violent crime flourish. Trump-hating judge, psycho, defrauded, proof, politically biased,
valuing my assets.
Weaponized.
On Thanksgiving Day, he's upset about his
our
assets.
country to go to hell.
Go to hell, weaponized. Rhinos, Marxist Democrats, rhinos. And make it great.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah,
Trump continued to rip Biden on social media throughout the weekend, while also mixing in attacks on Forbes, The Atlantic, and anyone who had endorsed his Republican primary.
Well, that's not very thankful, is it? But, the thing is, let's just bring in people who enlisted one of those Raid Trumps by Trump,
contributing
writer for The Atlantic and senior fellow at the Trinity Forum, Pete Wainer. Everybody.
His piece is amazing.
The thing is, people are usually enraged. Pete, you just look at Pete and you're like, that's a guy that gets people in the bar fights.
Well, just wait till you hear what he wrote.
Also, president of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, the Reverend Al Sharpton, also former U.S. Senator and now on NBC News and MSNBC political analyst Claire McCaskill. Claire, before we go to Pete, because I don't want Pete and I to start fighting right off the bat, because he obviously provokes people. But Claire, let's just say, talk about how sick to say that America is a rotten nation before you're president of the United States. American carnage. And then you become president of the United States. And America has 4 of the most tumultuous years later. And the second he leaves and is defeated by the American people, he goes back to saying that America sucks again. How grotesque.
The common denominator.
How grotesque that Donald Trump only thinks America is great when Donald Trump's president.
Yeah, because he doesn't care about America nearly as much as he cares about himself. That's the problem.
I'm sorry, Claire. Claire, you could have stopped after America and could have just put a period there, because there is no evidence over the last 8 years that I've ever seen that shows that Donald Trump cares a damn about America. He just doesn't. He cares about himself.
He cares about himself. He has no guiding philosophy, has no ideology. He has no policies he really believes in, other than the only thing he believes in is the guy he sees in the mirror, that he looks at probably more often than is ever healthy for any human being. And his marketing is all about grievance. He is a marketer. He's a huckster. He is somebody who knows how to market things, not make them, not build them, just market them. And he is marketed always just to grievance, never to unity, never to aspirational hope that we all want America to have, never pride in America, just grievance. So if you're thanking on Thanksgiving, you should thank America for being having values, and you should thank people and hope they come together. All he wanted to do on Thanksgiving was make sure everyone knew that he was still really pissed off about everything, and he wants to make sure they stay pissed off about everything.
Well, you brought up something that's so important, Claire.
Sorry about that language.
What language? Oh, my God, it's so much worse. Speaking of language, you should have heard me the first.
No, please.
Actually, every second of the Alabama game until the final throw. But Claire, I'm so glad you talked about marketing, because the crisis we're going through right now, where the world could really spiral into World War III, but it's not, because a guy who's actually had 50 years of experience, it shows the contrast between a guy obsessed with marketing his brand, a guy obsessed with gestures, a guy who governed by gesture, versus, Joe Biden, who has 50 years of experience. And when a deal goes sideways on the hostages, he can pick up the phone, he can call, he can get it done. When he meets with President Xi in a critical meeting, he can actually, they have experience. They've got over a decade of experience working with each other when both of them were number 2 in their countries. Experience matters, and the contrast, and it makes me so angry when people are talking about, oh, Joe Biden, he's out of it, he's this. No, he's not. On Joe Biden's worst day, he's light years ahead of Donald Trump on policy, on politics, on diplomacy.
Well, there's no question about that. And frankly, on mental capabilities, the ageism thing is really, look at the way Donald Trump behaves. Who is more unstable? Who is the one who, frankly, doesn't know where he is part of the time, doesn't know who he's running against, doesn't know what year it is, doesn't know world leaders and what countries they're from. It is really, if you isolate his comments and look at them objectively, he is the one who is suffering from a problem related to declining ability in later life, not Joe Biden.
Yeah, and after that screed, I mean, there'd be a lot of people like going, Uncle Donnie needs to maybe go to a community living center.
Yeah, he's got emotional problems.
He's
and
out
emotion regulation.
Poor thing.